Welcome back, everyone, to Let's Play Aurora 4X, the Star Trek Roleplay Framework, episode number 3. So thanks to all the comments so far. It has been a bit of a slow start. This is kind of just the way Aurora 4X is, but I guarantee this episode is going to be a little bit more exciting because we have plenty to do, including designing our first geological survey vessel. That'll be, I'm sure, our first spaceship back into space, and in space, like, with these trans-Newtonian material resources, we're able to make a ship that is just hundreds, if not thousands of times faster than any previous satellite or vessel that we've had in space before. This thing is going to just really be zipping around the solar system. And that first geological survey vessel is going to be doing exactly what its name implies. It's going to be scanning all these system bodies, which I don't really have up yet, but there it is. I prefer to leave it on asteroids with minerals only, so we won't see any of these asteroids circling until they have something interesting on them, and that's usually the point at which I investigate to see what they have on them. Anyway, to start our episode off, I did a little bit of thinking off camera at the end of last episode, and I think we're going to try to up the, well, I know we're going to up this to 2 commercial shipyards because we want one for the geological survey vessel, and we want the other as soon as it is built. By the way, when is the first one built? April. So April 39, we'll have to keep a lookout for that. But the other one is going to be built, and that's going to be for the geological survey vessel. I actually want the second one to be for the survey vessel and the first one to be for the ships we'll build later, because I need to immediately start getting the first shipyard ramping up for the much, much bigger size. We're going to have to increase the shipyard by a lot in order to build the kind of ships we want to build to colonize the moon. So in the same sense, another thing we want to do is I'm actually going to cut research rate down for a little bit, sorry, Dr. Allen, in favor of improved geological sensors. Because if I want to get my survey vessel out as soon as possible, Dr. Norman's research is just priority number 1. It's obvious that we will get our nuclear pulse engine technology finished in time. It's obvious even that, it's not obvious, but I'm pretty sure. Well, we can manipulate her research labs with Dr. Allen's as a buffer when we see her finish this, but I also want to get the 0.8 liters per engine hour research done for slightly more efficient engines. I think that those two will be sufficient, more than sufficient, for our first geological survey vessel. Okay, and that said, I've done the manipulation here. There's probably something to be said for me even dropping this down to 15. I know this is a bit min-max-ish, and I don't want to be too much that way. But just to shorten the length to get this down to August, that seems to make sense for me. Commercial shipyards start off at 10,000, which will be more than enough to build our first geological survey vessel. It'll probably be around 5,000 tons. Okay, that said, we are ready to push on, I think. I'm nervous. I'm always nervous. When you're on camera, things just, I would normally, in my own playthroughs of Aurora 4X, I wouldn't mind spending 10 more minutes analyzing everything, making sure I was doing everything right, before pressing even one more tick. And I would move a lot slower. But since this is camera on, lights, camera, action, let's just throw caution to the wind and go ahead and move forward. Okay, and that didn't take long for us to... Oh, another thing that I want to do is I want to at least... No. Disable, jump to event. I want to at least start color coding a few of these things. I think the important ones to color code are research complete. I'm going to change the background color to some very light blue. And officer health, I'm going to put this at maybe a very light red. That's probably even too dark, but it's fine. Unfortunately, this is also going to show us, as we see here, the military staff, which we just don't care about because all those promotions are being taken care of. But this includes scientists, which can be very important. So we'll keep that on. Normally what happens is sometimes you get an inactive research lab and you don't know why, and it's because one of your scientists died. So this will help us track those kind of things. Okay, and most of the time I don't, like this is a bad example because research completed. This will stop our clock, our ticking forward. But most of the time I especially want to highlight the things which are not going to be visible, that will not stop the ticking from going forward. Okay, anyway, let's move forward more. And I'm an idiot. I didn't allocate that research lab. God, there's nothing I hate more in this game than pushing down another 5-day tick without having allocated the research lab. It drives me mental. This could have been January 29th instead. Woe is me. Okay, but these kind of things will happen. That is, I'm 100% serious. That's the most annoying thing in the game to me. Designing ships which don't function is fine. It's hilarious. Taking forward 5 days without research labs being used is totally unacceptable. Okay, so Dr. Fitzgerald has finished his research. By the way, I could rename one of my scientists now. We actually have a few people. I think Dr. Brandon Allen, since he's a savior, is going to remain Dr. Brandon Allen indefinitely. But everyone else, I guess what I'll do is the new people, these guys are going to be all locked in as veterans since they've already been used. But if I start, for example, if we were to get a defensive, oh God, I can't wait, a defensive systems scientist, I'll start our renaming of scientists there. And I think I have my list, so I finally have compiled something. We only have 2 scientists so far, but both of them I will happily use whenever we start doing research with new scientists. These are the legacy ones. They get grandfathered in to the naming system. But all the new scientists I use from here will be usernames. All right. Let's see. What happened here? Fitzgerald, we need to give you another Q. Energy weapons, not super interesting. We'll probably do visible light, then turret tracking speed. Okay. And oh, an inactive research. Was that just a coincidence? I'm getting nervous. Yeah, just a coincidence that he finished right at the same time. And I'm not going to go another 5 days forward without remembering this time. So good. We're down to December 39. I think if we keep pushing these up and up and up, we should coincide more or less with the, what was it? August 39. That's the finishing of the second commercial yard. What we need is, actually we need this, and then we actually have to build it. What I'm planning to do, I was doing the math in my head. I have my trusty calculator here. Let's pull it up. I love this calculator. It's just so fun. There's something about just a simple scientific calculator with like the sine, cosine, tan, log, natural log, those kind of things. It's just something nice about a calculator like that. I think Windows has one which is decent, but it's more fun if it's in your hands. Okay, so we have this construction rate, 14643. That is our annual production. I'm going to divide this by 360, and that's going to give us 40.7, well, 40.675. That's because I already rounded this number. I didn't include the 2. Now, that is my per day construction amount. I'm going to times it by 5 to get me how much a 5-day tick is. Probably not necessary, but 203. I'm going to divide it back out by 5 because let's just stick with the 40.675. So I have a construction rate of 40.675 per day. I know we have our original geological survey sensor, and this cost 100, and I think the next one is going to cost 200. I don't remember. I'm not exactly sure. We'll find out. But if it costs 200, that means that if we are doing 40 research per day, then our 5-day is, again, 203.4, call it, so 203. We will need 100% of our research for 5 days to be devoted to our improved geological sensor in order to complete it. But it really doesn't matter. We might not need it exactly in 5 days. We also don't know how much our engine is going to cost. We need to finish the research of this, and then also, again, like I said, we want the fuel consumption as well. But it's good to keep that in the back of our minds, that we can do with industry is so much faster. Our construction rate with industry, you can see, is like, what was that? 40 per day, so 200 per 5-day tick. Now let's compare that with our shipbuilding. Oh boy, it's not good. I can tell you that much. Let's go to construction production. So our shipbuilding rate is probably 500 build points per year. Yes, that means that what we can do in a year in our shipyard, we can do in about, let's say, 15 days in our industry. So it's insane how much faster you can build things with industry, which means that you can actually build these ship components with industry. In fact, we're going to need, we're not going to get improved cargo. So, we might as well even just start allocating, it's really silly, but even just 1% will probably be enough for us to get, I know I'll need at least 2 of these. So let's just start building 2 cargo handle. You know what? I'm not going to do this quite yet. I'm not going to do it quite yet. Because we're going to build the geological survey vessel first, and then I can start worrying about getting the freighters and the colony ship going. So let's not get ahead of ourselves. Let's make progress this episode, which means check the research labs again, done, and move forward. Oh, good. So that didn't take long. Dr. Jordan has finished her research. She has this. Good. So we want her to finish that, and then I'm going to queue up something for her. But as soon as she finishes this, we're actually going to stop her and have her research our first, what is it called? Race-specific technology, which will be something we create ourselves. And that is probably my favorite part of Aurora 4X. The fact that you create your individual components, you design them, you research them, and then you put them on your own ships. It's amazing. Just really, that's something I feel like is not unnecessary details. That's really interesting details. So we'll pretend we're going to do gas-cooled fast reactor, whatever. That's fine. 7 here, 7 there, good. And no available labs. Move on. Looks like we had a military cycle. Some Lieutenant Commander stuff. Okay, and that's it. Actually, Dr. Jordan finished very quickly. All right, so we're going to cancel this because this won't actually be what we do next. We're going to get her to work on something else. How are we doing, Norman? I really probably need him to do a few more labs. Yeah. Oh, he can only do 10. All right, well, let's get him on 10 and leave him there so that we can get this finished by November 39. But before I go back and probably forget to add those labs and go 5 days forward and then hang myself. I shouldn't joke, but it really does drive me nuts. Engines, our first technology. Now, what we want from this engine is a little bit of multi-purposeness. That's not a word, but I want this to be able to cover not only my geological survey vessel, which is just going to be essentially an engine, a huge engine, with a sensor and some crew strapped to it. I mean, that sounds like an absurd joke. It is supposed to be evoke a funny image and therefore humorous, but that is almost literally what this is going to be. What we're going to find is, because I need to make a very big engine, a very powerful engine for my freighters and my colony ships, it's inefficient for me to make 2 separate engines, one for my geological survey vessel and the other for my colony and mining ship. It's unnecessary. The huge engine that we make for our geological survey vessel, it's kind of fun. I like the idea of a huge engine with just the sensor and a guy holding a sensor on the tip of a huge rocket. He's of course got his astronaut suit on, but it's kind of an amusing image for me. And we're going to see this is probably going to be 75% engine, the final vessel. Anyway, this is the coolest thing about Aurora 4X is that you design these things yourself. A little bit annoying if you're just learning is every time you create this tech, you have to research it. So when I hit create, that goes over to my technology screen, and then I have to research it. This project will be 500 research points, which is not a lot, but it's not insignificant this early in the game. What I highly, highly recommend you do is pull up your main game window, Spacemaster on. I didn't set a password, most people don't, so you just hit OK. Close this window, go back. And now there is this nice little button called Instant right here. When you're first learning how to design ships, I really highly recommend you just constantly hit Instant. Look at the design in your class design window, which we will now be creating. I didn't really think about what name we want, but I didn't bring up the list. I can't remember. Okay, so I don't know if anybody wanted to be a survey vessel or not, so I'm just going to name this one. I think kind of a fun, appropriate name for our first vessel will be the Tortuga class. I know that my United Earth roleplay of the Star Trek universe is not really that accurate, but we're just going to be taking a lot of artistic licensing and creative whatever. We're going to be doing it's artistic licensing, right? What is the creative thing? I don't know, whatever. We're going to be doing a lot of things which are not exactly true to the Star Trek lore. But that's because we just want to take that Star Trek framework to give us some fun tools to play with in our game. I don't want to be beholden to the Star Trek lore. Most of all because I don't know the Star Trek lore as well as most people, or at least a lot of people who are going to watch. And I don't want to offend them. So we'll just make our Tortuga class cruiser. This is like our own separate world. We're already deviating wildly from the Star Trek universe. The things we're going to just basically take is, once again, this 2063 jump engine Phoenix. That's what we're going to be doing, as well as getting the USS Enterprise out at an ahistorical time. It'll be ahead of time. So that's just because I want to keep this series moving forward. That's really the reason for the Star Trek framework. It's just to keep our series moving forward. And you saw in the first 2 episodes, this series can move very slow if you let me just kind of do my own thing. Now, I'm doing my own thing and moving, quote-unquote, very slow, only because I want to have all the framework we want in order to accomplish the 2063 jump ship goal, which is that's no small task, I would say. All right, now, this is going to be a ship. It's not going to be a cruiser. It's going to be a geological survey vessel. Makes the most sense. Okay, good. What are we going to want on this? Oh boy. I'm going to have to get new armor. We don't want conventional armor. It's only 500 research points for the first tier, and that'll actually save us quite a bit. We'll see how much when we get it, but this is the same size as the improved one, so I can just throw it on here as a temporary thing. And what was I going to say? Oh, yeah. So if you're designing things for the first time, I recommend you Spacemaster instantly create the technology. Did I already erase it? No, here it is. Instant this, and then put it on your ship, see if it works, and then it's a single player game. You can cheat if you want, that's fine, but I don't think there's any pleasure in that. Then delete the tech and create it yourself. But this allows you to make mistakes. Okay, you created 50 whole size. What? Let me just do it here. I'll delete this as well. Gonna instant this. I'm gonna put it on my ship. Let me update technology. There it is. I don't know if it might have already been there. I don't know. Let's put it on my ship. Okay, 3550. This is way too fast, but that's probably because it doesn't have... Wait, why is this so fast? Is it because Yeah, because I didn't make this as a military ship. I didn't make the engine right, so I can't even use this one anyway. This would be stupid to use. Anyways, I put on my ship. I see, oh, shoot, it's a military vessel. And I made a huge mistake, which is literally the case in this example. It's a perfect example. But I'm like, okay, it could be half smaller anyways, or it could be half as powerful for... I didn't even mention the requirements for a commercial engine, which is exactly what we want. Non-military is you have to do 50 power or less, 0.5 or less. Now, we can't go less yet, but we will eventually when we can research better. The point of going lower and lower engine power is higher and higher fuel consumption efficiency, or you could just say lower fuel consumption. And it scales much faster than the engine power. As you go down and down, you can see that 1 is 1. Okay, that's 0.95 is 0.888. So this is not one-to-one scaling, which is the reason why it's beneficial. Okay, that said, it's also better to go higher hull size. It should be higher than 25 hull size in order to be commercial. And normally, you just want the largest engine you can. I would say that's even true with military ships. The caveat being that if you lose an engine, a lot of people would say for military ships, redundancy is more important than fuel efficiency. There's probably something to be said about that. So we can already see this is 200 instead of 400. Guess what that's going to mean? It's going to mean exactly a half speed reduction. So this is looking to be around 2800, which is still just incredibly fast, much faster than we need it to be to survey the entire Sol system. So good, we did our test. I'm going to remove this. I'm going to, well, let me just close this and I'm going to go to technology. Let me, engines, and let me just rename this to Space Mass Cheat 2039 so I know not to use it, and then we'll obsolete it and we'll never hear from it again. Now let's go ahead and do the honorable thing and make the engine that we actually want. But I just want to stress that using Space Master, which I want to turn off just so that it's not even on in the game, using Space Master is extremely valuable for people who are learning the game. That's how you start to fiddle with designs and get a feel for what is good in the game. So I do recommend it. Okay, and then just do the honorable thing like I'm saying, and don't instant, we still have the Space Master thing, but that's fine. Just don't actually Space Master the technology, just go back and research it when you're done, and you figure it out. Now this is where you should be typing in like a company name, but since Tortuga is very militaristic, this is a military, well, it's not a dictatorship because I'm like an amorphous entity for those of you who have watched the 4X podcast, especially episode number 3 about what does it even mean to be a 4X game. I am that amorphous entity. I like to choose names. Whoops, I still have caps lock on. I like to choose names which are just going to allow me to very quickly find the correct technology. This is going to sort everything by year and then by, well, technically if I wanted to be very good about it, I would be something like this. But I'm just going to leave it in this kind of style because this is kind of military-ish. 2039 May. I guess I could do... I've never tried doing anything but May like this. And it's so rare that I'll actually create 2 technologies in the same year even, that it's not important. I won't be creating, almost surely won't be creating 2 technologies in the same year if it's the same category. So maybe engines in 1 month and then something else like, I don't know, beam weapons or something, or fire control in June. But that they won't really interact anyway, so it's still fine. So we'll create this. Let me just make sure we got everything right. We did. Obviously, 2800. I didn't show you, but in that design, we'll see I created it. There's no pop-up, but it's now going to appear over here. There it is. We'll cancel. Oh, she doesn't have a task yet. We already canceled. So we'll give her this. This is going to finish very quickly. And then we'll queue up something like, we'll get her back to gas-cooled fast reactor technology right after that. But if I go back to the design, we're going to see that this design, I already took off the engine, but you could see it jumped from 600 tons up to, what was it, like 3,500 tons? 2,500 tons of that, because 50 is the whole size, and whole size is 50 tons per whole size. So 50 times 50 is just 2,500. That engine was 2,500 of the 3,200 tons of the ship. So like the ship is literally 80% engine. Just funny for me to think about it that way. Okay, but now we need to get this research done. It'll be happening very quickly. It would be very good if Norman could actually increase his administrative skills so we could give him more research labs. I'd prefer not to wait until the 1st of November. But that's okay. At least we will be true to our word, starting construction on this ship before the end of 2040. So actually, this is perfect. We're right at the buzzer. I'm already going to meet my first deadline, which was getting our first ship under construction before 2040. Okay. So I think everything I want to do is now done. The commercial shipyard can actually be slowed down quite a bit because... Wait, April. Did we get one? I wasn't paying attention. No. I missed it. I apologize. So let's expand this. I'm going to give this like my... I always do this. Civ Doc 1. I'll consider renaming the naval ones, but the civilian ones, we can just think of this as like slips in a harbor. They're not like that, but I'm just going to give it very simple names. Okay, so we'll get this one expanding. This is actually going to be our freighter and colony ship civilian dock or civilian shipyard, because this one can expand faster, and we need the like 35,000 or something like that for our first freighter and colony ship pairing. And we're going to get the other one in 2039, but we'll even slow this down to, what is it going to be, 25? October's fine. Yeah, we'll do that. And we'll get this back up to 20. And this back up to 55, I guess. Yeah, actually, we might as well sacrifice a little bit of construction for research labs, which are actually more important right now. And might as well also just modify this to be another 38. I just basically want these to research or to be built indefinitely until I tell them to stop. How are we doing in stockpile? We're still positive on duranium, which is the only important thing. So that means we're ready. We just need to pay attention. Hopefully Norman will get an administrative rating bonus or boost, and then we can give him some more labs. But for now, we can't do anything about that, so we'll wait. Okay, research lab. This one will go to... I guess we might as well start doing... The only other thing we could do is improve research rate faster than Norman finishes his. That's going to be impossible, so... Yeah, nothing we can do. This is going to finish in June 39, just 1 month, a couple weeks. There it is. So now we finished that research. He's doing, Dr. Jordan, I should say, she is going to be doing research on the gas-cooled stuff. I'll give her a queued research as always. Fuel consumption 0.7. That's a good one. So eventually we will get lower minimum engine power, and also it's going to be important to do higher maximum engine power for military ships. They are going to split off more and more, diversify themselves more in each direction. That said, I want to look at this. Okay, by the way, what's going on? Any updates? No. No, there's been no updates since last week. So close, though. Oh, but we can actually see how much this part is going to cost to build. And we're going to need only one for the research, or for the survey ship, obviously. But probably a few more than that for both the freighter and the colony ship are going to take quite a few. Probably 4, maybe 2 each is what I'll like pre-build and then leave them to their own devices. Yeah, I don't know how many engines I put on those first big ships. But only 50, so remember it was 40 per day for our construction, and that was lower. I'm sure it's higher now that we're building more construction factories. But 40 per day, which means that we can finish one of these in just 2 days, if we gave 100%. So even giving like, 25%, we can finish it in the 5-day tick. So not a big deal at all. Okay, let's then just keep pushing. I saw a scientific thing. Aaron. Who is Aaron? Aaron? Oh, another research in power and propulsion. Well, that's unnecessary. I think we have... Yeah, we... If only I could trade one of these guys for a defensive thing. Which reminds me, I do need to trade somebody for a defensive thing. We want it done before this, because as soon as this happens, I want it done immediately. So who can we get? Maybe I'll just get even somebody else. Are any of these guys going to be useful? No, I guess not. Okay, let's just... Which is the least important one going on right now? Probably, unfortunately, Patrick Fitzgerald, his is probably the least important. So let's just cancel his real fast. Get him to do this very quickly, this duranium armor. Only 500, just extremely worthwhile for such a cheap amount. Do that. Where'd you go? Oh, I'm looking here. There it is. I'm looking for EW. It's now DS. He's out of his element, but that's okay. Still going to finish pretty quickly. Even if we only left one lab, finishing 2040 in a year. So we'll do it. We'll obviously give him more than that, but we'll also queue up another energy and weapons put this one back on him. Okay, so let's give him a few more labs. This is now not important, no longer a priority. I'll just put it to 2. And okay, so we're already going to finish it ahead of the geological surveys, which is all we need to do. Okay, very good. And then with the rest of our 1 lab, I guess I'll just give it back to Dr. Jordan. No, let's give him back to Alan. Very good. Okay, is that everything we need? Yeah, commercial shipyard is actually moving faster than we needed to. But that's okay, it'll finish and then it'll start doing construction factory stuff. Okay, push on. I missed whatever that was. Ah, wasn't important. Oh, yeah, that's right. I already saw that one. Inactive lab. Give it to research rate. Next. Nothing important. All right, commercial shipyard complex finished. I'm also going to start expanding this one. We don't need to, but I will. We'll rename this one Civ Doc number 02. And we will get it to expand with 10,000. Set activity. Commercial shipyards are designed to be much bigger, so they don't take very much time at all to expand their tonnage. My naval shipyard, I should be doing this. What am I thinking? Let's get this one just to go 5,000 right off the bat. You can see that this is going to take a lot longer. For it to do half as much tonnage, it's going to take like 4 times as long. So this will be finished in 2040, and this will be finished in 2044, and it's only doing half the tonnage. Because naval shipyards, I mean, you can just imagine you can be a little bit more sloppy with a civilian ship. They're going to be bigger anyways. You know, the big freighters, they can have this and that, but the military ships have to be state-of-the-art, perfectly designed, so it takes a much more precisely fine-tuned construction site to make those, you know, the way they need to be made, which is high quality. All right, but that next thing we need to step up. Okay, technically we have 25% unused. What do I want to do with this? Let's start building these ship components. I guess I'll build 1 for now. No, just 1. And we have 25%. So this will take what? Yeah, this will be done exactly in the next tick. Since I might as well just build 2 because we're going to build more after this anyways. No, just go to this and modify it. I probably will end up building 5, but let me just get 2, which will give me 1, and I'll take this off until I actually need to build some more for the freighters and the colony ships. Okay. And I think that's it. Yeah, okay. So go a 5-day tick. That should have finished one of them for us. It did. Let's put this back down to 0. What do we want? I don't even need to put it down to 0. You just got to take it out of the queue. That's what I should do. Let's put it like 10%, some token percentage so I don't forget about it. What else do we need to do ship components wise? Cargo handling, yes. Cryogenic, those are the 2 we'll need. But unfortunately, geological survey sensors, we're not going to be building this. We need the next. We're still waiting on Dr. Norman to finish his research before we can move forward. Okay, which means that the 10% we are not allocating, I guess, just goes back to construction. Or, wow, this is more than that. Is there anything else we got to build? No. From installations? Automated mines eventually and mass drivers both. But we don't need those to start. It's never too early to start building automated mines. They're very useful. But I'm going to hold off, actually. We're going to get our construction factories finished first. Why not? And then we can work more on the automated mines much faster when we have more construction factories set up to build them. Okay. And move forward. Okay, Fitzgerald finished his research. Congratulations. Oh, that's the duranium armor. Okay, this is interesting. We should see how much of a difference that makes. Now, he already has his Q, but what do we want next? Let's just keep working on lasers. And now let's see what a difference that made. So this is the old Tortuga. It would be 600 tons. It only has 1 thing of armor. This is not like the most... It's not the best example. So it is conventional though. So let's take a look. We're probably going to need 3 fuel storage. And let's pretend that we're using this engine, although we won't. I mean, actually, let's not pretend. That is what we're going to be using. So the armor on this, because of the armor, it's 3600. Let's just drop it down. Let's use new armor here, because it won't update the armor. You have to do it yourself. New armor down to 3300. 300 tons of extra armor. That's insane. On such a small ship, it was 10% of its armor. I mean, of its weight was extra armor. We have the same amount of armor as we did before, but it's just 10% more efficient. So that's really wonderful that the duranium is that much better than conventional. All right, what do we need to think about next? Okay, we just need to wait until the improved geological sensors are done, and we'll wait for that to happen. Okay, everyone's finishing their research all at the same time. Norman. Oh, wait. You finished improved geological sensors. This is huge. Okay, what do you want to work on after you do anti-grav? Let's do EM sensitivity, I think. And now let's remove all your labs from you. Sorry. You were once important, but no longer. Same with Fitzgerald, actually. We don't need any labs on him. Let's pretty much just give 10 here, and the rest will all go to Alan from now on, so we can get... Actually, this can drop down even more, just so we can get Alan up to 20. All right, very good. So now we need to do the correction in our design. This is going to be swapped out. You can see they're the same size. Oh, the cost is only 150. That's fantastic. But this is actually done. So let's see. It's going to be moving at, wow, that's fantastic. The speed difference is no longer 28. It's now over 3,000 because we got the reduced size from the new armor. Aside from that, it is... We don't need to work with an intended deployment time over 3 months because it is a commercial ship, and commercial ships don't suffer from morale loss if they're outside their intended deployment time. You can roleplay this any way you want. I usually roleplay it that commercial ships don't, they already have built into them at a 3-month deployment time, because you can't choose anything less than 3 months either. If you choose 2 months, this becomes a military vessel. So I kind of roleplay it that the 3-month deployment time is how much space on the military ship you need for a 3-month deployment is actually enough space for an indefinite amount of time on a commercial ship, because they're just less efficient. I mean, they're bigger ships in general. And I don't know. I guess we can roleplay it any way you want, though. So this is sufficient, and we don't need more than 1 engineering space either. There's no like chance for failure because this is all commercial stuff, and that's all handled behind the scenes. So 30,000, range of 120 almost billion is probably a little bit more than we need, but this is supposed to. Let's like take a look at the solar system here. Center it on Sol. By the way, numpad is how you can move around very quickly. Kind of reminds me of CD or Cataclysm Dark Days Ahead in this respect. But anyway, using the plus and minus as well on the numpad. So if we zoom out a little bit, here's our Neptune orbit. This is a distance of, call it 5 billion. Now our ship is not just going to be going, here, back. It's going to have to do, if I once again enable all the bodies, it has to do a lot, right? It has to survey every blue dot you see here, which is a lot of dots. Now it's going to try to do them in, it won't be doing it in at all an optimal fashion. What it's going to do is just find the closest one to it at any given time and move to that. In fact, we're actually going to be doing survey 5 at the same time. So it's not going to be particularly efficient, but I would say that the amount of travel it has to do to get all these, definitely more than 100 billion, but we're going to allow it to come back and refuel. It obviously has that capability. So 100 billion, I don't know if it's the best, but it's a good ballpark. You could probably make this less. I don't think you would need more because refueling is not that big of a deal, and you make the ship less efficient the more fuel tanks you add. So we'll leave it right there. In fact, I think that this is our completed design. So the Tortuga class geological survey vessel is complete. I think we're actually going to, these sensors are so small. Let's do size in tons. They're only 250 each. Let's actually throw on another one, which is going to help speed things up a little bit. That means it'll really finish things fast. And not only it basically is less still less than our original amount with the old armor. I like that. So this would be a really nice geological survey vessel. I'm sure we won't need another one before we get a jump ship. So that is our finished design. You have to triple check, sometimes even quadruple check to make sure you have everything. 1, fuel. 2, engineer. It's commercial. Fuel usage isn't spectacular, but that's okay. Still has good range. Range dropped a little bit with that second survey. Oh, but this is going to increase the... Okay, we're only going to use one because the amount of time it takes to build that second one, I think, is going to be prohibitive. 150. No. If it's 150, we can get 2 of them. If we just drop everything else out of the queue, we can get 2 of them in 10 days. So let's go ahead and do it anyway. And then our first ship will be done pretty quickly. Okay, so let's do this. Finish design. No more fussing about it. Just time to get to work. So we'll just drop... Now that the research we really need is kind of done, we'll drop this way down. Let's see, okay. Actually, let's drop everything out of the queue until I can math out exactly what we need to get this part finished in exactly 2 ticks. Because I definitely can't finish it in 1 tick. Improved. We need 2. And go at 100%. I think that this is more... I think it's going to be like 90% to finish it, I think. 90%. So this is still a little bit too fast. We need them by the 15th. We want the lowest percentage, which finishes us on the 15th. I'm going to guess 83. Why? I don't have a good reason. Just guessing. And that was not anywhere near enough. So let's go 75. Okay, can we go lower? It's like the price is right. The lowest you can, or the opposite of price is right. It's the lowest you can without going under. Okay, this was too low. This is still too low. Okay, 73% is what we want. That means that we can get 27% for the research lab. Bump it up. There we go. 100%. Oh, wait. No, bump all the way up. There we go. So we'll just go 2 ticks like this. Research lab will be done. Both the sensors will be done. Before I do that, let me make sure we aren't wasting any labs. Good. Okay, so click, click. Both done. All right, and now we're going to start building on David's... No, sorry. Let's see. Which one of these is... Yeah, CivDoc 2. I don't know why they're out of order, but did I misspell something? No? Huh. CivDoc 2 is going to become retooled. And now, although we're in middle of doing something, retooling for your first assignment, if there's no class assigned here, retooling is free. So we go over here, retool for the geological survey vessel, the Tortuga class, set activity. And it's going to say, are you sure? And we're going to say, yes, it's not going to actually cancel this. 11.2 and done. So CivDoc 2, the reason why I chose this one, because the CivDoc 1, we get that free retooling we can hold in our pocket for the freighter and the colony class. Okay, so next, I said I wasn't going to work on mechanics so much, and I bogged down way too much in this episode. So for that, I really apologize. I'm going to leave the ship name Tortuga 001, but I'll look and see if there's a different name that we can name it. Actually, we can name it Tortuga Power, I guess, until I give it a better name. Now the build cost is 4,365, but the good news is we already have in our stockpile the engine and both the improved geological sensors, which means if I pull back up this component summary, that 11.5 plus 68, so basically 80% of the ship has already been constructed by industry. All we need is this last 20% that we can't do from the industry. So although with a construction rate of 500, a ship like this would take about a year, let's find out exactly how much time it's going to take to finish. Tortuga Power, add task. And it is going to finish a year from now would be November 2040. And it's going to finish in March 2040. So that's how much work we've done for ourselves, how much time we've saved. by building those things for like 15 days total is all that we needed from our construction. And not even 100% of our industry for 15 days. I would say it's, although it does set your industry back a little bit, and that's worse in the long term, I would say that in this case it was probably worth it, at least as a demonstration. Now I won't talk more about this in the future. You've seen it once, you don't need me to talk about it again, but I will probably need to do the math like that. I won't be able to do it off camera. I mean, I guess I could actually, I could put edits in. If that's too boring, I definitely can, let me know. But since this is not going to take that long to do, I do have to finish this now. Okay, so we have to get approved construction factory jumped back in 35. Let's put this up to 65 then. Oh, sorry. What jumped in? Oh, you jumped in. Jump back out. There we go. 100% done. Very good. Continue. Okay, good. Just making sure that the things on the bottom were what I expected. Continue to prove Dr. Allen's research rate. And I promised this episode something exciting would happen, so we're definitely going to wait for the geological survey vessel to be released before we end the episode. This is non-negotiable. There it is. Okay, so it's March 2040, and just very soon after the deadline I said we'd start building it, we've now finished our geological survey vessel. Although the timing of it, like from a video length of time it took to get here, could have been a little bit better. We will detach it, make it subordinate to nobody, and we're going to make her a survey vessel. So we're going to have her survey the next 5 system bodies, and if she gets less than 30% fuel, go refuel. It's best not to wait till 20% because then they give you an annoying tick, an annoying reminder which stops your ticks forward, and that can be just a huge pain in the butt. Oh look, another power and propulsion scientist. Well, like we need another one of those. And it looks like Isabel Wright is my current captain of the Tortuga Power. So what I would normally do in this situation is if you gave me a ship captain name, I'll go to Isabel Wright and I'll rename her to something, whoever the captain is. And then we'll know the captain of the ship, which would be fun. But before we finish this episode, I think it's only appropriate that we get the Tortuga Power to begin doing a few things. First, I want to show moons. Luna's just not under Earth because Earth should be right below Venus. But since Earth is a colony, it goes up top. That's why. Anyway, let's geological survey this. Then after that, you can go to Mercury and start from there. Venus, and yeah, okay, Venus, etc. And okay, let's just have you do Mars, those 4, and we'll have you stop there. But the last thing I'm going to do before we end the episode is just look at the size of this. I mean, not the size. Let's watch the speed of this ship. Remember Apollo 11? Remember how long it took? I'm going to go in 5-second increments, and we're going to see how long it takes the Tortuga Power to move from Earth to the moon. You ready? We can count up here. It's been 1 minute now. This would have been much more dramatic if I had done 30 seconds. So in just probably the length of time of me showing you this, and the time it's taken for me to like say ready and then watch it go, this was almost real time. It is now at the moon. It is now at the moon and surveying, and it has only been 2 minutes. An insane amount of, it covers this distance in 2 minutes. So we're very happy that the Tortuga Power is now out there. I'll do a little bit of time manipulation at the very beginning. Let's see, I want this to go next time it gets to 5 minutes. Okay, there, now we can go by 5-minute chunks until it gets to 20, and 20-minute chunks until it gets to an hour, and then hour chunks. Okay, you see what I'm trying to get here. 8 hours, 8 hours. And the next 8-hour tick, it's actually going to be gone. It'll finish its survey of the moon and it'll be off. Did I preempt it? There it is. It's gone. Where did it go? It's heading towards Mercury. So we'll call this video to a close here. It's quite long, but hopefully enjoyable. I know it was a little bit slow. I'll try not to bog down too much in the production details next time. Again, this is about a role-play thing, and having the Earth people really excited that their first true trans-Newtonian ship is developed and out in space. There must be great jubilation on the planet. So thanks for watching, and until the next video, take care.